Hey now.
GM.
What's happening?
GM. What's going on?
Kevin.
Kevin?
Kevin, who's there?
Oh, I have Kevin up. Forgot about Kevin.
You can leave him there.
Good old Kevin. Do the pat head thing on there. That one of my favorite reactions.
We love Kevin. We love the Kevin.
What's going on?
Nothing much. A critter spot just sold for 2 ETH. I am examining it, trying to figure it out.
The critters plot?
A critters plot, one plot, a 64 by 64 plot just sold for 2 ETH.
Yeah. I wonder. I'm going in. Oh, it's right beside the main spawn.
Right by spawn, right? Yeah, two
there you go.
Yeah.
High valued spot.
What a premium. What a premium. With the floor sitting at 0.14 right?
You're a little underwater right now. I don't know what happened there.
I'm underwater?
Yeah, it just sounds like you sound muffled.
I cannot figure that out. Hopefully it corrects itself. You love
sure.
Huh?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's still happening, huh? Is the audience hearing me underwater?
I don't know. I'll let them answer. I'm not sure.
Do I sound underwater, audience? Let us know before we do the drum roll.
He's speaking from inside his bong.
Great. I guess that's a confirmation. Let's see what I can do.
GM, Degens, Chipper, Toro, Crypto Cosmos, Illuminati, Ella, Misled Society, Sandman. A little muffled, very understandable. It's a little better. Here we go. Did you get your coffee yet?
I didn't get my coffee yet, no.
It hasn't showed up?
No, it hasn't shown up. Weird. Sometimes that happens. It'll be here any minute. You'll hear, I'll put it on mute. You'll be like, oh, I guess FMC isn't here right now. Let me talk about something for a second. Then I'll be back. Coffee in hand.
What'd you order this morning?
Lattes. Did you know you can put the emphasis on the A sometimes to throw people off? A latte.
A latte.
A latte.
Is there a flavored latte, or is it just like a latte?
And look, I don't want to judge anyone, but if you
much better now.
If you get flavor in your coffee, then we don't drink the same.
We're not. You're built differently. We are not the same.
Yeah. I am not one of these purists who say you should only drink black coffee, though I don't judge them. That's fine or whatever. But I don't put flavor in my coffee, nor do I put sugar. It is coffee and cream, as God intended.
Little bit of cream, no sugar.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say fat is flavor, right? In cooking, you add fat, it brings out flavor. That's what it does in coffee. People say it actually hurts the taste of the coffee. I disagree. A little cream actually brings out the flavor in the coffee.
I do love cream. I've tried to do the milk. It's just not the same.
I never got. I mean, I understand a steamed milk is in a latte, but if I'm just getting coffee, it's half and half. Or cream, as they call it.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I put. I do put a little bit of sugar in there, though. I'm slowly starting to wean myself off of that, too.
Yeah.
I remember, like, years ago seeing, like, an infographic, or not an infographic, like a video of how much sugar you actually consume throughout the day if you, like, drink this and, like, have, like, a can of Coke and etc. And they were, like, just, like, piling it up. And I was like, oh, my God, that's me.
It's a popular science fair experiment.
Was it?
Yeah, kids will put sugar in baggies and show how much granular sugar is in a Coke or something.
Yeah, 9 teaspoons in a can of Coke, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I used to drink Rye and Coke all the time, and then I realized.
Yep.
I was shown the light. Tonic water I thought was healthier. Also full of sugar.
Sweet, delicious tonic water.
Gin and tonic.
Yep.
Jam. Did you get your hash situation sorted out?
Yeah. I went down to the club yesterday and they hooked me up.
How does that even happen? Was it just like an empty
Well,
jar
you
accidentally
want to
got
know what was
placed in?
funny too, because sometimes they get a large amount and they weigh it out themselves into gram jars or whatever, and sometimes they'll buy prepackaged hash from a certain company. So I didn't know what this was, but I brought it in when the guy because I had DM'd the other owner last night, and when I got there, it was a different owner. And when I showed him, first I was like, "Oh, you want to see how fire it is?" And I just to get him back with the same joke. I opened the jar and it was empty, and he laughed at me like, "Haha," but like he didn't think it was that funny. And I was like, "All right." And I walked over to the fridge. I started to exchange it. He's like, "What's up?" I said, "Oh, it was empty." He said, "Oh, it was empty. I thought you finished it. Oh, I thought you meant you finished it overnight." I'm like, "What?" First of
He
all,
didn't get the memo.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they laughed at. Oh, but I guess the moral of the story was they bought these prepackaged. So they went, "Wait a minute." He turned to his other partner. He was like, "Did we buy this empty jar of that?" He was like, "Yeah, we bought that." So, thought that was funny. They were also shorted, so they have to, I'm sure, contact that supplier today and say, "You owe us money."
Yeah, it definitely happens every once in a while on whatever style of production line they have. One gets missed. You get that every once in a while.
Yeah, and they're heavy.
Carton of milk with no milk in it, or
and they're heavy glass jars that weigh 10 times as much as the product in them. So it's very you wouldn't know just by picking it up. Whereas if you pick up a bag of weed and it's empty, you would know because it would weigh a lot less. This you don't know. The glass.
Well, you picked it out and walked home with it and, or whatever, and had no idea, right?
No. Oh.
So well, glad it got made right for you. It's it's funny how few and far between these things actually happen, but every once in a while it does happen, and I mean, some people get pissed about it. Holy.
Yep.
Use it as an opportunity to demand free shit and make it right. My time.
Yeah, I was hoping some free stuff.
No luck.
Schnurr. I'm not a schnurrer. I was just hoping they'd be like, "Wow, you had to, not only spend your time coming down here, but also the transportation fees."
Yeah, I would say, not to criticize them, but like, good management will recognize that, and or like good customer service will recognize that, and help you out a little bit with it too.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't ask. That's the thing, right? If you walk in there and be like, "Give me free shit," and I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you."
Right.
It was an accident,
Yeah.
Guns blaring. Cool, man. You want to do the old drum roll? GM D-Gens, and welcome to the Wednesday, March 3rd edition of the AlphaMint Morning Show, hosted live on YouTube and Twitch TV. I am your host, R2DGen, and I'm joined with me by the lovely free market capitalist.
Hey now.
I forgot to turn the music off. It is the 3rd day of March. We are, 2 months into the year, and things are a little quiet. Content is being a little bit harder to dig up. You look at the news, and it's mostly centered around what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia, which is obviously important and newsworthy. But it's definitely front and center stage, and people aren't talking about much else in the greater scheme of things. NFTs are drying up a little bit. The floors are falling, not super dramatically, but definitely feeling the downward pressure as people start to undercut each other on the floors, and there's not a lot of buying pressure to scoop it back up. The OpenSea charts, the volume charts have been down dramatically through the first 3 days of March, and here we are. But nothing's dead. Still lots to talk about. Still lots going on. Free market. How was your Wednesday?
Wednesday was good. It was nice. We had the first official morning squeeze.
Congrats again by that.
Showcase. Yep. And we had some very awesome guests on, including Lucien, who took the first digital photograph ever. He was working with Kodak back in the day, back in the 80s, and he took the first digital photograph. And the homie New Notes, shout out, who actually did a shoot in London with Drift. Shout out to Drift
nice.
from Drifter Shoots, where my Vans go. Well, they went to London, and he went and climbed on top of some stuff with Drift, took some amazing pictures. That collection is coming out very soon, and it was really awesome to talk to them. Boy, that stuff makes me it's hard to look at, and it's fun to look at. I feel like I'm up there with them. My stomach starts to get queasy. I asked him yesterday, I said, do you tell your parents before you go and do these things? Because I don't know if I would be able to handle that as a parent. So yeah.
It's yeah, I mean, I see all these videos of those people that will climb the skyscrapers, or even the skyscrapers that are under construction and have the crane sitting on top of them, and they're like, there's no harness, there's no safety nets or anything like that. They just go all the way up to the top, and then they stand up there and film themselves. And like, I never thought that I actually had like a legitimate fear of heights, but watching those videos make me like actually queasy. Like it is just, it's such a strange feeling to watch people do that. And but I love it. I mean, Where My Vans Go is a great NFT collection. This guy is incredibly talented, not only at climbing, but taking great pictures up there. I'll pull it up as well. I'm sure most people have seen them, but the idea of going up there is definitely not for me. I see those videos of those guys, those like the little hoverboard things with the two wheels, and people are like driving them around on the ledges. I'm like, whoa, no.
Well, nice. It was a 40 ETH floor last time I looked, up to 66 now. 2,500 volume in ETH.
It's not even like one of those collections that have barely sold any and just have a couple people that listed it for very high. This is
watching Drift rise to what is well deserved. Again, I talk about what is good art. It's art that makes you feel. Well, this shit makes you feel almost unlike any art I've ever seen, and it's worth it. I mean, this is getting the price it's worth. He's going to be at Sotheby's again soon. So
yeah, there's definitely some danger pay baked into that floor as well.
Yeah, no, he is well, exactly, for the risk that he takes, for the art that he produces. You can't. It's hard to.
This is beautiful photography too. We didn't even prepare for this in the pre-show, but I remember, or we had a brief conversation about this, you and I, yesterday. And you're going to get up there with them too, right?
When they come to New York, yeah. So NFT NYC, we are going to we're gonna go do some stuff. Yeah.
You're gonna get up on the
a lot before it happens. I've learned there's like protocol, because what they do is
oh no, thank
you. Can't
you.
Quite say what the yeah.
Oh my god! I just pulled this one up. I'm like, no.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Protocol.
There's a lot of there's a lot of legal issues that goes into getting the right shots with these things, so we can't talk about it until afterwards.
No, of course. Oh, there it is. Yeah, no, I know. I know with a lot of these things, you see people that climb up there, they actually have parachutes to do base jumping. And to get out of the situation, they basically just jump and parachute away, and then you'll see like a team of police cars trying to find where they're going to land and whatnot. But yeah, most buildings and whatnot do not approve of people climbing on them in this fashion. So yeah, not only is there a hugely dangerous element to getting a shot like this, but there's also a legal element as well. But it is very fascinating to see people with the ability to do this, because to say that it's not for everybody to execute is probably an understatement. There are very few people in the world not only capable of climbing like this, but willing to do so. But I mean, scrolling through this collection is just, it's unreal to see all of the places that he's been in this world. And like a legitimately seriously talented photographer as well, because you know, you can't just get up there and just snap shots and expect them to be amazing. This one overlooking Central Park there is really great too.
And this is all he wants to do. We talk about art, how it spills out of people uncontrollably, and you know, he is now afforded the ability to travel around the world and do this. That's what he wants to do. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Is that the Dakota right there?
I cannot. It's that or the Essex building.
Yeah. Cool. Great. So you had a conversation with them, and talking a lot about photography, NFTs, which is you know, a lot of people have pegged them to be one of the trends in 2022 at some point.
Well, honestly, it's not even at some point. I would argue, I know a lot of, and you know, talk about the Little Lemons community is heavy in photographers. That's one reason we do these little showcases, because there's just so many in there and they're selling. It's really heartening. They post their work, they get a little, you know, a little bit of popularity, and they're starting to sell. So I think photography is coming into its own here this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the other one that quickly comes to mind is Justin Aversano, the twin flames.
Yep.
Where it takes pictures of different twins all over the world and whatnot, and I mean, that's a huge collection as well. Does very, very well. Yeah. So that's great. Congrats on the first official lemon squeeze space, and I'm sure many more to come.
Indeed.
Cool. Let's talk a little bit about crypto, although not tons to talk about. It is kind of just bouncing around in the same range that we mentioned yesterday, and kind of what it was doing for a while there after it had its bounce back up from some pretty low lows after the Ukrainian news. But yeah, sitting at 2,900 for ETH, 43.7 thousand for Bitcoin, and like we mentioned yesterday, just kind of trading within this, you know, plus minus 3 or 4% range and bouncing around, waiting probably for some macro news, either good or bad, to kind of take the next step forward. But seems to be all kind of baked in right now, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the S&P 500. It's batting up against resistance right now at around 4,400, which we called yesterday. I think the market was at about 3,350 when we were talking about it. We said 3,400 to 3,450 is the next level to watch as far as resistance. Coming up into that, and we're waiting for the next geopolitical shoe to drop. So I would expect more sideways consolidation between 3,000 and 2,800 here until we get something that knocks us out of it. And if it is a de-escalation of tensions, we're going to rally. And obviously, if it's some new thing we did not expect, it is going to fall. So we are watching and still at the mercy of geopolitical news, though right now, technically, the chart is setting up bullish. It's just a matter of the news fitting that narrative, which I think it will.
Yeah, I'm under the impression some conversations are starting to go down, but it does look like that situation is actually intensifying rather than de-escalating, based on what I've seen in reports coming out of there.
And this is what I find very interesting, because I talk about watching the S&P 500 is the best way to get a gauge of news. And as what seemed like increased tensions were coming out, there wasn't really a reaction in markets. And that's a big clue to me. That tells me that whatever the issue du jour is, saying that, I forgot, I think Putin over the weekend said that they would use nuclear force if we interfered in Ukraine. We seem to certainly come off 3,000 at that point and bounce down to 2,900, but we've really been bouncing back and forth between. We got up to 3K yesterday. It's back down a little bit. There's rhetoric and talk right now, but if the market really believed it, it would be tanking again. So right now, the market doesn't believe it. Doesn't mean it's not true, but I tend to lean on the side of the market's bias. And right now, market says that it's going to de-escalate. So
yeah, Hoping for the best. Be nice to see a little bit of a run and some life come back into crypto, as well, as we're kind of just waiting for that to happen. But obviously, the main focus is getting the situation in Ukraine resolved, hopefully as peacefully and undramatically as possible.
Well, S&P's at 48 at 4,400 is about 8 or 9% off the highs, which isn't ideal, but it's certainly not. Honestly, when you zoom out, that's a pretty standard correction. You're not even talking about bear market territory, which we may have been in briefly. But again, I think technically the chart's setting up very nicely. If we get any hint of de-escalation, I think there's going to be a very big rally, which probably won't be good for NFTs, to be honest, because this will drag spot Bitcoin and ETH with it. So maybe not the best news for NFTs, but hey, when the underlying assets go up, at the very least, we're not losing dollar value. Maybe we lose a little in terms of ETH, but I would say that, we want it to rally up to 3,800 because then it'll calm down and consolidate, and it'll give NFTs a chance to work again, right back into bullish seasonality, which is still this backdrop we have, right?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, right, like that run might be like a little bit of short-term pain for NFTs, but of course, with ETH going up, the dollar value is increasing on the NFTs as well. But yeah, I mean, it once that does cool down, I mean, there is a very great opportunity for NFTs to be off to the races again, and with the NFT market, we've seen. Oh my God, I didn't have the screen pulled up all this entire time. I'm so sorry, guys. I think NFTs were kind of hitting up against this wall too, with the incredible run that it went on for the beginning of the year. A lot of these mints were, either soft rugs or just straight up hard rugs. We've seen a lot of liquidity change hands for better or worse. We've seen a lot of these projects just, send the money right to Coinbase and put it into their wallets. And I think that the minting meta has also shifted in terms of the allow list basically being almost 100% of the project, and then just a very small amount of them being available to anybody that wasn't on the list. And I think all of this is kind of just consolidating into kind of just a bit of a pressing of the brakes on the NFT market as a reset is kind of in order, and now we start to try and refigure it out. And crypto going up in the meantime is not the worst solution in the world.
Reset.
We need to get that. You were going to get that sound effect panel.
Pretty much do them on my own now.
I just thought it was a real sound effect. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How's the latte or the latte?
The latte, it's nice. It's nice.
It stayed warm while it was in transit.
It did. I don't think it's so cold today, but it stayed warm. It's not.
My God. I was walking the dog this morning.
On the cafe and not on the delivery guy because it's warm. So it must have just been the cafe that was backed up with orders, not the.
Yeah. Happens. It's a cold morning out there. Fed Chair Powell calls for congressional action on crypto amid Ukraine and Russia conflict. The chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, has said in recent events in Ukraine underline the need for crypto regulations. I'm curious as to what further regulations that Jerome Powell is actually looking for. But if there's one kind of sub narrative that's going on with the invasion of Ukraine going down, is that a lot of people have piggybacked onto this idea that Russia is avoiding sanctions and doing funny shit with the crypto market. To me, this is just using the current situation as leverage to get what they want. Mm-hmm. But before all of this was going down, we were getting lots of news from Congress, like having these meetings with Bitcoin and crypto experts and crypto exchanges, starting to talk about them very favorably. We talked about how some of the staffers, being younger, are probably going to be putting a lot of positive pressure onto crypto and whatnot. But here we are in a completely different dynamic in the global markets right now, and the narrative again is that, and we saw this in Canada too, crypto is a problem. Crypto is how these criminals and how these people evade things. And I think most of the people in this room could agree that that's just not necessarily true, or not any more true than people use cash, right?
Yeah, and the government and the people who work in it, especially the ones at the higher level, they're very smart. They all went to great universities, right? They are going to leverage any situation to their advantage. Doesn't matter what the situation is. This is a situation that they can leverage to their political will, just like COVID, all right? The world, forget just America, the world needed direct stimulus for a very long time to actually spur inflation. We've been trying to spur inflation for decades. People are like, oh no, it's inflation. What do we do? That's what governments have been trying to do for decades, but they couldn't, because the only way to get actual inflation is to give money to people who will spend it. For decades, we've been giving it to banks, and that is why we haven't experienced the hyperinflation everywhere. Banks are savers. They take that money and they stuff it in a mattress. They lend it out to very, very high credit individuals. All right. When you give direct stimulus to regular people, they go out and spend it. And when they go out and spend it, it reduces the amount of supply of goods out there. It increases the demand, and we get inflation. All right. They could not have done that without COVID. COVID gave them the political capital, the political will to pass direct stimulus. Republicans would have never allowed it, ever. And that's what happened. Now we're seeing this with Ukraine. Ukraine, it's a geopolitical situation. Most people defer to, of course, this is a humanitarian crisis. It's what is taking, it's what should take the front seat in any discussion related to this. That means that people like governments, that people like lobbyists, that people who are Machiavellian in nature are going to use whatever the situation is to leverage their cause. And they're going to say that, well, because of this, and this, we now have to go out to crypto. Just like they said, well, because of this, and this, we now have to give direct stimulus to people. So these situations give parties leverage to get the things they want. And that is, I don't think it will be effective, to be honest. I don't think crypto regulation is possible. That is, I think, a pipe dream for governments. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can swing this this conversation any way you want if you're looking to use it to leverage too, right? Like, there's lots of people on the other side of it that will say, look at how good crypto has done for supporting Ukraine, right? And it's all just the perspective that you want to take to be able to use it to leverage the outcome that you want, right?
Exactly. And right now they are using Ukraine for both sides of the argument, and that's the result.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I also have the article of, like, Yellen says Treasury will monitor crypto and other channels for sanction evasions. Yellen suggested the cryptocurrency sector wasn't one Russia could easily use to evade sanctions. So she basically came out and said, like, sure, you could, and we're going to keep an eye on it, like we're keeping an eye on everything else, but it isn't a sector where it's just like a foregone conclusion that you can evade any sanctions that you want. There was more of a thread by this Jake Chervinsky that, outlined why Russia can't use crypto to evade sanctions. But U.S. crypto companies offer a variety of services. Russia doesn't get to use them anymore. That's the sanction, just with all U.S. goods and services. Russia's ability to use the underlying technology doesn't let them evade the sanction in any way. So, I mean, there's kind of just the flip side of it, of saying, like, yeah, crypto exists. And, these crypto exchanges are still pro-Russian citizens having the power to use crypto, but just anti-Russian government using their platforms to do so.
Right.
So, last news article that I have pulled up is the SEC targets NFT creators marketplaces over ICO-like sales. The SEC has reportedly sent subpoenas as part of its investigation. So, for anyone wondering whether or not the Securities and Exchange Commission is on top of what's going on in NFTs, I think the answer is yes. I don't know what the The outcome will be, obviously, they're likening it to the 2017-2018 ICO fiasco, where they basically deemed that these were unregistered securities and all of that stuff. Some NFTs seem to be mimicking that. Maybe something like Pixelmon comes to mind. But
I was going to say, did they cite any projects in there at all?
No, it was a pretty vague overarching idea, just that the SEC is looking at this. But I would definitely suspect that a couple of high profile projects that have launched recently have piqued their interest.
Yeah, I mean, I there's a few keywords in an article like this. Number one, you go to the top in the headline, and they're already giving up the ghost right there. It says report, right? There's nothing confirmed. We don't know what this is about. And as you know, with the game of telephone, when one person gets something and then tells a friend, and then that friend tells the friend who decides to call up, decrypt, and leak, it's gone through 4 different filters already. We don't know what's going on. They didn't cite anything specific. This sounds like an article planted by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, because they know they can't do anything. I am telling you guys, it is a farce. It is a farce. They cannot regulate this stuff. They're going to try. They're going to cause a pullback every time they talk about it, but they can't. It's impossible. It will move out of their jurisdiction, and it will still exist because the network is decentralized. Period.
Yeah. Period. Yeah, I mean, the very most that I can see them is coming down on these companies that kind of sit in the middle of, like, let's just call them Web 2.5, the centralized companies that operate, right, like an FTX or a Coinbase, and they're going to be treading very carefully anyways with all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, particularly with Ethereum, the network being decentralized and really being truly decentralized is a huge layer of protection against regulation and whatnot. So, yeah, but I mean, it's just one of those articles that, like, they're always looking. I actually do agree with you. The broad vagueness of it is telling in its own right.
Yes, exactly.
What was there was another article we were talking about that too. There was like the European Union seizing a bunch of NFTs and stuff like that, and like was there any specifics as to which, where, why, how? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was just one of those things that, like, this is a very suspect article in regards to the lack of specificity.
Yep.
So,
yep. And I'm telling you, you see it all the time. I mean, you saw it in the New York Times during the Trump administration, and you see it now. It's not even that there isn't a kernel of truth to everything. It's that when there's not enough details, you might as well just step back and say, who cares? You might as well step back and say it doesn't matter, because on some level, who knows what part of this is true, and who knows what they're targeting, who knows what they're after. Until we get details, this is honestly a nothing burger. It's a type of fodder that gets, fed to the media to start a conversation.
Yeah, and get people scared.
Yeah,
exactly. That's all I've got for the news. As I mentioned, it was just very centered around crypto regulation, the geopolitical situations, and all of that stuff. But obviously that's the talk right now. The only other thing that popped up this morning that you brought up is we talked about Looks Rare quite a bit, and then that's actually gone on quite a run this morning.
No, wait, zoom back out to show quite the run, please.
Yeah. It had quite the run.
It's quite the run. Go look. It's quite the run when you zoom in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's up 60% this morning, right?
It is. Yeah. A nice 60% up to down 50% from the highs. So not even down 80%.
Yeah, down a lot more. Really thought that you can actually track a lot of what's going on in the crypto market with the Looks chart. This little pump right here, I believe, was when the OpenSea hack kind of started to come into play, and then it just kind of took off all the way down again there. But if you're a Looks holder, I wonder where this just went wrong. Are you still holding? Are you still participating in that as well? Like,
I bought 100,000 Looks.
What's that?
I bought another 1,000 looks, very cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this
I bought 1,000 and staked it. What am I giving up on this concept?
No, I think it's still a great play. I mean, I had to exit at some point. It was definitely not at the high to free up some liquidity for some of the drops that I was looking at early November, or sorry, February. But I mean, it's still a play here. And the WETH offers, like, how's the WETH rewards been?
The WETH rewards have been pretty terrible, I'll be honest. I think I've earned 0.02 over the last few weeks, and that's just because obviously the wash trading is down a lot. And the halving occurred in which it cut the APR anyway, the amount that people were going to get as rewards. So looks up 60%, looking good, still down 80% off the high. So a little work to do here for to return to former glory. The WETH rewards are down. I think that this summer we're going to see some pretty impressive things with looks as we get out of this bearish seasonality. Right now, that bearish backdrop can't get out. Let's see where X2Y2 is.
Yeah, I just thought like outperforming X2Y2 substantially. That was
that's what, 39 cents. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Down about 90% on that one.
Did I ever tell you how much I love my lemons randomly for no reason? I'm just going to say that right now.
Yes, I have heard rumors that you do like the lemons. So, Wonderpals revealed yesterday. I think to some mixed results. I know you were on a Spaces when the reveal went down. I mean, I took a look at them this morning. I took most of yesterday evening off, and when I woke up, saw the reveal. And I mean, I guess whelmed would be the word that I would use.
Whelmed. Do people use that term? That's actually pretty genius, my friend. Do people use that term?
I don't know. I just what's that?
Is that a floor one with the apple on its head and the glasses? I like that one. You see with the jersey?
Yeah, just sitting just above floor there. Yeah.
Uncle Free would rock that one. The one that they randomly generated for Uncle Free is not his style. It is very not the one he would choose.
What did you end up getting?
I got one with a polka dot shirt and fire on its head, but it's not quite coordinated or matched well. I mean, look at that lemon head on They couldn't give me one of those? Jeez.
That would have been
you knew. Boy, the lemons went nuts trying to get all the lemon heads. I'm pretty sure yesterday during the sniping phase, all the lemon heads were sniped from the Wonderpals collection and bought by actual lemons. There are a few traits. There is the lemon on the head.
The little lemon.
Right. There is the lemon mask, which goes over the head. And then there are actual lemons in the top 30 rarity here. I believe the biggest sale was the Alien Friend 1 of 1, which sold for 16 ETH yesterday. Kind of cheap, to be honest, for a project that has kind of the highest floor of the ones that were hyped last week, minus Invisible Friends. Yet they only saw that 16 ETH sale and a 12 ETH sale for another 1 of 1. Nothing blowing anybody out of the water, but still very consistent volume. And the dip it saw post-reveal was short-lived. It bounced back very quickly. I think it got down to 0.48 at one point. Bounced back very quickly. I will be honest. I was in a live Spaces during the reveal. We made a kind of Wonderpals themed, and we brought people in to talk about it. Like you said, I don't think people disliked the collection. I just think the commons left people underwhelmed, and that that normally causes a dump, right? We tend to see things pull back pretty hard if the commons aren't desirable enough that people want to go out and get them. Really didn't see that here. Yeah, it dipped for about 40 minutes, but they were bought back pretty quickly. This is one of those projects that, again, I have no inside information. I don't know anything about what's going on, but it feels like, real life licenses are on the roadmap for this type of, but the way people were talking about it beforehand, I think there's more than the pictures you were given yesterday. So in respect to both Starcatchers and Wonderpals, I'm waiting for the next. And now, because remember, these were projects with no roadmaps, and I know they have roadmaps. So
yeah, intentionally. So
intentionally,
yeah, sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
So this was a matter of managing expectations, and you can't be mad sitting at 4x and 8x from your mint price before you've even hit them with what this shit is about. I mean, I think that's a very good strategy for these projects. And you know what? They may not even be in a hurry. Given the state of the market, given the state, they may be like, we don't care. Let it pull back a little more. We can hit them with this anytime we want. Why take that arrow out of our quiver until it's absolutely necessary? So, I think here's what I'll say about the mixed reaction too. People were either underwhelmed or loved them. There were quite a few people that really did love them. So it wasn't like love or hate, or it wasn't that most people think they were mediocre. I would say some people were underwhelmed. Some people actually really loved them. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes here where I wouldn't discount the potential of this project, of Starcatchers, of all the ones that launched.
I completely agree. And sometimes a polarizing reaction is absolutely not the worst thing in the world either, right? I mean, if it's unanimously disliked, that's going to be a problem. But having some of those opposing views where people really, really like them or people really, really dislike them, I mean, it definitely keeps the conversation going on them too. And it also solidifies the people that really like it. Kind of creates that, like, a little bit of a back against the wall mentality of like, oh, you don't like them, well, like, I like them extra amount just because you don't like them.
And what I mean, and what you just described is a phenomenon I talk about all the time on this show. It's that bull markets are built on the back of disagreement. People think bull markets are when everyone's bullish and everything's going up. That is wrong. Bull markets are when 50% of the participants are bullish, because that means you still have half the idiots out there to come over to your side. That means there's still half the population out there to buy your bags. The moment that switches over to only 25%, 20%, 10%, that's when we flip. That's when sentiment flips. That's when we start to go down. So disagreement is exactly what you want. We've talked about it a million times, how emotion is what drives price. It doesn't matter if it's FUD. It doesn't matter if it's FOMO. It's emotion that drives price. So disagreement, it's not just sometimes what you want. It's exactly what you want if you're bullish on a product. When you're bullish on something that you minted and you love, and some idiot comes on his show and says it's going to zero, you should laugh. You should be happy. It's amazing to me. If someone FUDs your bags and it really bothers you, maybe those bags are not quite as good as you think. Because deep down, when you have high conviction on a play, like I have with lemons, I don't care how much FUD people say in the DGen dojo on a daily basis. They love to shit on lemons. It's fine. I don't care. And you shouldn't care either when someone shits on your. Have confidence in your plays. If it really bothers you, maybe it's not such a good play to begin with.
No, I mean, it's a great point. And it's such a good binding mechanism too, right? Because you go to seek out people who have the same feelings towards you. And that's not to say creating an echo chamber or anything, but it's just, if a community forms around that adversity, that's kind of that they're being met with, it's very, 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 very tight bonds within that community at that point, right? So, yeah, I mean, pulling these up this morning, I immediately clicked on the buy now button rather than the highest last price button. My initial reaction was like, oh, okay, like something like this. This is what I expected. And then I was, zooming out a little bit, and I'm like, I see a lot of just the same kind of thing. Like I'm just looking at, these first 5 there, and I was like, or 7 of the 9 on this top row here, and I was like, I'm not feeling it. And you go down a little bit more, and I'm like, I'm not sure that I'm thrilled about this. But sometimes some average mediocre floors, and like I said, they don't look bad. Sometimes an average or mediocre floor actually does well to solidify, the mid-range ones and the higher ones too, because as I started scrolling, I started to see more and more that I actually really did like.
Yeah. There's a ton of heaters.
You're starting to see something like that. Like, okay, this one's kind of cool. I'm like, oh, I like this bunny head.
I like.
I'm like, this guy's.
The ones with sunglasses get me. I think they're very cute. Mm-hmm. I like the ones with sunglasses a lot.
Yeah, and
Applehead
as
review. I know Sage pulled an Applehead last night. Shout out to Sage. They're good. They're we talked about this even beforehand. They also work really well in the PFP. You want to talk about
yes,
almost look better in a PFP than they do in a big picture, and maybe it's not even almost. It's true, and that's a masterclass, so to say. Oh, we discovered they have Hello Kitty Wonderpals, just like the Lemonettes, the Hello Kitty lemons with the
bows on it. Yeah,
Driz, one of the founding members of the Lemonettes, pulled a Hello Kitty Wonderpal. It was like, wow, meant to be.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Meant to be. There it is. Right?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I mean, I see this orange pop up. I'm like, I love this one. And then I look at the one beside it. I'm like, that one's not doing it. But that's good too. You know what? We've done this live on the show when you were looking at Cool Cats, right?
Yeah.
Cool Cats is a universally loved project, but when you look on the floors there or slightly above, you find this whole mix of like, that's not me, not really feeling this one, don't like this one. Oh, this one's cool, right? And the more that I'm talking through it, the more that I'm beginning to like this project. Well,
honestly, look at Doodles. I hate the first 10 rows of Doodles. It's not even that I hate them. They're just like, like, all right. But like the nice Doodles, you're like, whoa, like, yo, look at the Doodle, like blah 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 blah. So it is not necessarily detrimental to a collection if the commons are underwhelming to some, because we can see that in Doodles. The ones that are
I've always felt that way about Cool Cats, and I love Cool Cats. I just don't love all of the Cool Cats.
Right. And we all discount how much these are fat. Like, we constantly look at things like non-fungible peoples or other than we go, wow, how would anyone want to wear? There's a lot of people out there in the world, and they all have different styles and different thoughts and different colors that make them happy and make them feel good and life experiences. So, we never know what's going to grab someone and say, oh, that's my forever JPEG, or that's the one I identify with.
Yeah, I mean, I think between you and I being up on the show, I think our Venn diagram of what we like and what we don't like have a lot of overlap. Obviously, you have specific tastes and I have specific tastes that we don't always see eye to eye on. Yeah. But there is a huge group of people that sit almost completely outside of that. And anything that, when we're talking on this show, it's not to discount what you like or anything. By no means are we the end all be all of what your opinion should be. It's just, our wheelhouses and what we're drawn to. But you look at those hyper realistic ones, and I, for the most part, for some of them, I understand why there are people that are drawn to them as opposed to something like this. I'm also going to remove the hyper realistic animals that were all done by the same people from that conversation, because those are just rugs. But yeah, I mean, I look at like non-fungible people as a great example. It doesn't do much for us, but obviously they are doing well for a reason.
Oh, I don't even know if they're doing well anymore.
They did go on an incredible run though, didn't they?
Kind of, yeah. And they have a partner. They're partnered with Champion Clothing or Fashion.
Which was the one that was just going up like crazy a couple weeks ago? Not out of the blue. It was done by the on Twitter.
Out of the pocket?
No.
Oh.
It was a hyper realistic one. Oh god, it's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know.
These Dower Darcells, I can't escape them. Every 2 hours, someone asks me about these Dower Darcells, the ones that look like the monster from Monsters Inc.
Yes, they were brought up on the show the other day in the chat.
They're obviously going to be a cook. Like 17 people have come to me. What do you think of these Dower Darcells? They're obviously going to cook. I don't think this is not one of those like 3D fake projects, regardless of what you think of the art. This is like a real artist who is putting his passion on the page, and it's
they better watch out from Weather Report, because the head of it is a circle.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, I actually have seen this pop up a lot as well, and obviously you're seeing it too. So
yeah. Plus, I don't know. Because it seems like the name should be Sour And it just sounds like Mike Tyson saying "Thou with the bells." Mike Tyson, you know,
bringing out a new impersonation there.
That would the bells. That would
the That's actually pretty good. Oh my god. Speaking of those hoverboards, have you ever seen that video of Mike Tyson driving one around in his like dining room and just absolutely eating shit on the floor?
Mike Tyson's a national treasure.
Oh god, I mean, yeah,
treasure.
I love that guy. Yeah. I mean, you know, he has obviously looked back on his career with a lot of disapproval about what happened and what he was, but he's hilarious now.
I know his personal life was very very turbulent, unfortunate, and he did some awful things that he did pay his debt to society for with a long stint in jail, but certainly arguably the most prolific athlete at his sport of all time. I don't think anybody
it was insane
ever has come remotely close to dominating their sport in a way that Mike Tyson dominated his sport.
I mean, people were terrified of getting in the ring with him, and that was like part of the advantage that he had, was that any opponent that he went up against was immediately like afraid of being in that square with him.
Go to YouTube now and just watch like the 2-minute clip of all his fights, because you can fit all his fights into 2 minutes because it was one fucking punch most of the time. Mike Tyson, like I said, arguably more dominant at his. I can't think of an athlete that was more dominant at their sport than Mike Tyson was.
Sometimes I think Wayne Gretzky is pretty hard to touch in that regard too.
That could be it. And it's very hard, I think, to compare boxing to those to other sports in that sense, but it's probably a good analogy. Yeah, Wayne Gretzky,
Tiger Woods at his peak was very, if you're looking for individual sports, was very untouchable.
And then, you know, Ted, what's his name from the Red Sox, batting 400.
Oh yeah. So. Does that hurt to say a little bit?
No,
that's all good. No, but yeah,
perfectly fine.
Mike Tyson, I mean, there's definitely a younger generation. I mean, a lot of people don't care about boxing anymore, unfortunately, but like definitely a younger generation that didn't see him fight. And it was crazy because as soon as they touched gloves, he would just like bull rush them with that jab, right? And back them right into a corner. It was like right off the hop, just hyper aggressive.
How any human being got in the ring with that, man. I just don't know.
God, yeah. I remember seeing a talk show with Muhammad Ali and him both being on it. Now, this is when Muhammad Ali was like not in great shape, physically and mentally, but they were up there. And the interviewer asked Muhammad Ali, he's like, if you were in your prime, like, you think you could take Mike Tyson? And Ali was just like, I wouldn't even get in the ring with this guy. And Ali was like the king of just cocky arrogance, being out there like, I'm, and for him to be up there and be like, hell no, man.
I know it sounds, some people redefine a sport. I mean, he changed how boxing happened. He arguably ended. I think people were like, well, boxing's done. I mean, this guy pretty much put it to an end. But yeah, no. And I understand Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor certainly dominate their weight classes. I don't think it's anything compared to Mike Tyson. I don't think it's even.
Floyd Mayweather's a tricky subject too, because he really handpicked who and when he fought them.
I don't think you can compare.
Mike Tyson wasn't scared of anybody.
Tom Brady, I mean, Tom Brady is the best of all time when it comes to quarterbacks. If I will never dispute that.
You can't debate that at this point. I don't understand why people try. And I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I'm not a Buccaneers fan.
The greatest moments of my life was when Tom Brady lost to Eli Manning twice. I knew
it was coming.
He's the best of all time. I don't deny that.
Yeah.
I just think that you can't compare the dominance of Mike Tyson in his sport. He was unbeatable. Tom Brady was not unbeatable. We know that. He tried to be one season until Eli Manning put that to rest. But and yes, I am a Yankees fan. There, Vinny. Let's go Yankees.
The stripes, the pinstripes. I'm excited for baseball season. I'm going to try and go to a couple games this year. Yeah.
It's the sport that I'm pretty into besides hockey right now. Basketball and football taking a backseat, not on purpose, I think. And the Knicks, as they get good, I'm sure I'm going to get hype about that again. They've been right recently.
Zhao's bringing up Jordan. I mean, Jordan was absolutely a hugely dominant force in the NBA, especially at the time. And at the time, there wasn't a single person, especially in like the 6 Bulls championships times, but even before then, there wasn't a single person in the league that disputed that he was the best player.
Yeah.
So I mean, in terms of pure dominance and kind of gap between him and the next best, like, yeah, you could put him in that conversation. I'm not trying to be a hockey maxi or a pure Canadian here because I actually love basketball. Basketball's my baby. And hockey, I do enjoy watching, but it's not like front of mind for me most of the time. But if you actually go and look at Wayne Gretzky's records and his record-setting seasons, I mean, they are just unreal. Like, you can't, I don't know in a team sport setting if there's anyone that can actually compare to the stuff that he did. Like, the one crazy Wayne Gretzky, and we can move on from this topic after that if you want, but the one crazy Wayne Gretzky stat is that if he never scored a goal in his career, he would still have the most points of any NHL player in history for their career.
And that's what I would love actually to have Animal, aka Gorak. This is to me our resident sports expert. I know we have a few people around who could. I would love to get their opinion. I don't consider myself, because you guys bring up great points. My gut still, I just think that nobody dominated what they did like Mike Tyson did. And I would say Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan were the best that ever did it at their respective sports. And I don't know if they were as dominant to them as Mike Tyson was to boxing. I just don't know. It was effort, for what Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky did. It looked like they were working really hard on the ice and on the court. Okay. Mike Tyson did not look like he was working. I swear to God, he looks like he was playing with his victims. This is like another level.
Well, I think that was like one of the main reasons why Evander Holyfield actually ended up beating him, because he was literally the first opponent that he had in that ring that just wouldn't go down.
Yeah.
Like, Mike Tyson was hitting him with hard punches. Like, and anybody else that he ever faced was on the mat when he hit them. And he was beating the shit out of Holyfield and he wasn't going down. And you could watch how frustrated Mike Tyson was because he was throwing everything at him. And it wasn't that, Evander Holyfield was beating him technically. It was that Tyson couldn't knock him down and he couldn't understand why. And then he bit his ear off.
Wasn't Tyson the first person the FBI ever had their hands designated as deadly? Like, he was not. No, I'm not even kidding. He was not allowed.
I know.
Yeah. I think he was the first person to have the FBI say, no, your hands are deadly weapons. You can't just punch someone for no reason.
That was, I think there was something about that in the unfortunate, like, the domestic abuse case that they were having. It was saying, like, the rules are a little different from you when you can put a 300-pound heavyweight boxer on the ground. Like, you don't get to go around touching normal people, everyday people. Like, you're gonna inflict some pain. So I love in the Hangover when he's in the hotel room and the one guy takes a shot. He's like, dude, you just took a hit from Mike Tyson, and they're all like pumped about it. So, all right. Well, that was a bit of a sidebar, but great conversation nonetheless. So, what else do we got? Dippies went down yesterday. You were pretty bullish on that, and for a good reason. What's that? Oh, well, the Dippies went all. Yeah, Dippies.
I'm kidding.
You got me. Dippies sitting at, let's refresh it, was a 0.4 floor when I pulled this tab up. And I'm assuming, about the same, exactly the same right now, actually. This is still pre-reveal. I liked everything that I saw from the promo videos, even just this nice little pre-reveal GIF that they have going on here is looking good. But I think this is one of those projects that if the traits are done right, there's good diversity in it and whatnot, can be surprising upon reveal. Everything that we saw in the sneak peeks and whatnot looked like there's a lot of different ways they can go with it. Maybe a lot of different diversity and color traits that they could have. I'm not actually sure when the reveal for this is. Do you happen to know?
I don't know when the reveal is. And I don't know. how people will receive the commons. The commons that I've seen have looked pretty plain. The rares and the animations have been next level. So I'm wondering if the hype now is based on the rares and animations that we've seen, which I absolutely love. And if I was on the, oh, thank you, Michael, 48 hours until 48 hours after it mints out. I'm not sure if it was only whitelist yesterday or if they
completely... Nope, project is fully minted now.
Okay, so, wow. I love that animation.
So yeah, we're probably looking at about 34 hours if quick math is serving me correctly. 14 hours ago from the announcement that they're 100% sold out. They said it 48-hour reveal countdown with epic Twitter space. So probably try and tune into that.
Yeah.
Bounty on all royal family Dippies and South by Southwest. So I mean, yeah, this is you know, you could point to Doodles as a style for this, but I mean, they've done a great job of it for sure. Like, you know, I'm kind of feeling like something like this whole look, you know, some animations behind it. Like how good would have Invisible Friends looked if it was more of an entire scene like this, right? Like, look at, I think that's all they needed to do.
I didn't get the floor Invisible Friends. They don't make sense to me because they have a plain background implying please use this as a PFP, but the majority don't work as PFPs. I guess some that have a cool hat and glasses or like say, but as our young Charles was pointing out, the day of the reveal, there was one that was just a pencil behind his ear. And therefore, because the rest of him is invisible, it was just a pencil. So many people were just, as a joke.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Charles was wearing it for like a day or two. And a lot of people on Twitter were to just like, you know, laugh at the absurdity of this collection that like and I'm not even saying I dislike the art on the commons. It's fun. It's not bad art, though. I will say a lot of the commons don't make sense. You know how from a like they.
Are you talking Invisible Friends right now?
Invisible Friends.
Yeah.
I guess I went on a tangent.
No. That's fine. I wanted to clarify so I could bring it up.
I just think that if you had made Invisible Friends a 100-piece collection that were all like that one of one with the water, I think they all would have sold for 100 ETH. I think people would love these things. I think that it would have been universally received, and Fleur wouldn't be down 50% on everything she bought right now. But you know, it is the way it is, and these are what they are. I'm wondering with the commons on the Dippies that I saw whether they're playing too, but I love that collection. I'm not totally sure what they're about yet. I don't know how much of their roadmap is public. But yeah, I like the Dippy. It was funny because it felt like it came out of nowhere, and it wasn't just me. Like I was talking on the spaces, I was asking people about it. I was like, yeah, I just found out about it 3 days ago, or I just found out about it last week. All of a sudden they were minting. They got on the Andrew Wang spaces, which is usually a pretty good indication something's not just going to sell out, but it's going to cook. And that's exactly what it did, sitting at 0.4 right now. I actually do think these are going to fall after reveal. Wonderpals had a slight dip after reveal. Starcatchers is still suffering its post-reveal dip. Given the market backdrop and the fact that I don't think these commons are going to blow people out of the water, I would expect that post-reveal dip on the Dippies, but I do think that there is enough here that they're going to be okay, medium to long term. So maybe buy one you like after reveal, or gamble on a rare if you like playing that rare lottery.
I mean, looking at the stats right now, about 9,000 of them, about 5,000 owners, unique owners, which is a great foot to start on.
Yeah.
0.4 ETH. It's definitely up above mint price. We are seeing now reveals kind of going that traditional route of, you know, the rares are baked into that price. So of course the commons are going to fall a little bit and the rares will be worth slightly more or a lot more, who knows? And yeah, I could definitely see this being, following that trajectory as well. 2,000 ETH traded too, right? So there's a lot of eyes on this. A lot of money has changed hands in regards to this mint and you know, pre-reveal purchasing. So the one thing that I wanted to actually talk about, and I hope that maybe they incorporate this as we start to see it become a little bit more common, is just slight subtle animations. Obviously, Invisible Friends was fully animated, and it was actually quality animation, regardless of what you think of the rest of them. But we saw Starcatchers incorporate some, subtle animation enough that it doesn't change the dynamics of the fact that it's a PFP. But if you're looking at it, or if you have it on Discord and someone's hovering over your name or something like that, the animation can kind of, occur within there. And just like little subtle things. I think that that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch going on as maybe teams start to incorporate that more into the NFT. And there's part of me that's hoping Dippies takes advantage of that, because everything I've seen that's animated from them looks really good.
So good. So nice.
Do you think that we're going to see more projects start to kind of do subtle animation? I was expecting the Sunnies to kind of take that route, and I didn't see anything. We can talk about that too.
Yeah, no, I was expecting Wonderpals to take the slight animation. No, I think that was maybe just one of the, kind of magical secret things about Starcatchers, which I am just incredibly, incredibly bullish on. And
somebody asked, oh yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I love the Sunnies too.
Yeah, somebody asked in the chat earlier why Starcatchers kind of falling further and faster than some of the other projects that minted last week. And personally, I do think that maybe it's a little bit of a victim of going first in this market with all of the other projects, Oh
yeah, definitely a victim of going first. One thing I'll say about the Sunnies, I am seeing them everywhere. I am seeing a lot of people wearing their Sunnies. That's always a very good sign for a project early on. I think people like them. I think they make people feel good. And, shout out to the whole Sunnies team. And you're launching into a tough macro situation. Don't let it get you down.
Very tough. Yeah. I mean, they're sitting just barely above floor price. The volume hasn't been as high on them as some of the other ones, but we talk about Starcatchers going first, Sunnies maybe being a victim of going last, right? And the fatigue kind of setting in on this style of drop. The one thing I will say about this is my initial knee-jerk reaction of the floors was actually better than Wonderpals. And I don't want that to sound like sacrilege to any Wonderpals holders. But I was pretty happy with how these all went down. But again, like kind of looking further into them, like I'm looking at this row and it's all kind of very much the same. I think maybe just the color palette is a little more appealing to me. But looking at the highest last sales, these look good, but they do not look as good as Wonderpals kind of rares and top tier ones. So kind of weirdly sitting just in the middle, like an average middle,
Yeah.
That's kind of my initial take on them. Not a bunch of huge sales on this either. Like this highest last sale is going for 2.75 ETH. Not bad for a 0.05 mint and floor project. So quite a bit above, but nothing shockingly large.
Right. This is a very community-based project that didn't try to garner a lot of hype. They do spaces with their community. The people who like these like them. It's going to be a slow build, which means a stronger foundation. So I do like the Sunnies here, looking out.
Oh, well, hey, they held. What's that?
I said I do like the Sunnies here, looking out a few weeks and months. But Hermano's asking us about Loser Club. I think maybe it'll get to twice mint, maybe a little higher based on the fact that it's going to sell out and the hype. And then I think the macro backdrop will do to it what it did to everything else. I hope I am wrong. I am very bullish. I'm going to max mint these and likely pick some up off the secondary, depending on where they open, of course. But at the same time, I don't think anyone can escape the macro backdrop we're at. The OpenSea volume is where it was December 2nd at its absolute low after the summer that we had. So you just can't get around that. It's so hard for me to even, it's very hard to call it a bear market. And we talk about that all the time, and it's a bearish period. But look, when the volume goes, it's very hard to distinguish. I mean, floors get absolutely killed. And even when they get killed, people aren't buying at that new low price it's at. There's just no way. People are just not buying. Period.
I think there's some like discouragement and frustration that we need to put some distance between too. Like, and by distance, I mean time, right? I think, if we look at the middle of February when I mean, even you and I thought the Super Bowl was going to be a big deal, and it wasn't. I think that, you know, the hindsight was like, oh, kind of just, you know, you feel a bit deflated, right? Like this was supposed to be a seminal moment for you. And then it kind of was this come down. And then that week was a little bit slower, but then we're like, okay, well, the Super Bowl was a bust, but like, let's look towards Starcatchers, Invisible Friends, Weather Report, and the Wonderpals, right?
Yep.
And then that goes down, and Starcatchers does great, but you know, looking at things like Hape Beast and Azuki, which went absolutely crazy, like almost too crazy. You know, all of a sudden a 0.1 mint that's sitting at 0.7, 0.8 pre-reveal at the time was just like, oh, like, you know, we thought this was going to be, and then Invisible Friends happened. And honestly, if you weren't on the allow list and Invisible Friends grinding the shit out of that Discord early, you were never going to get to mint that. And then you're kind of sitting on the sidelines watching Invisible Friends go to 10 ETH and people selling there. And that's an amazing cook for them, but you were by and large left out of it, right? So that was kind of frustrating. That was deflationary. And then we kind of go, you know, further on. Weather Report was supposed to be this a great thing too. And then you have the controversy between Dented Fields, and that whole situation was just an absolute clusterfuck. That kind of like took the wind out of the sails. And now I think that combined with this macro backdrop is just, you know, everyone's just kind of just down here right now waiting for something to happen. And there's no project that is immune to that.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. I think the best thing you could say for projects launching now is that there's no pressure on you. All right. People are going to mint you if they like you. If you fall after your initial hype cycle, it's really just the macro backdrop going down because you're not going to know what the market really thinks about your project until there's a market again. So, you know, don't feel as a project this week or next week or in the month of March, don't feel too much pressure. Get out there, launch. If you have a real product and a dedicated team, things are going to work out for you.
Oh yeah, people are still hungry to do something.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's just the wind has kind of come out of the sails a little bit. Somebody asked about Hape Prime earlier, so just bringing it up. The floor is still continuing to drop. What do we see for the future of them? Honestly, it's not great, but you know, if you're still holding this, like I don't know. I don't know what I would tell you to do. I think the opportunity to make a lot of money on this has passed, and you know, I don't know what announcements this project could make, because honestly, they forced too much hype on this project, and they did not even come close to meeting it, in my humble opinion. So yeah, I mean, we saw that floor go down from 9 ETH to now 1.65. And honestly, talking about it while the mint was going down, how long they dragged out the pre-reveal. Like, we had people in here being like, you guys don't understand, this thing is going to 20 ETH. It's a blue chip already. And that kind of mentality scares the fuck out of me for the long-term prospects of the project. Is like saying 20 ETH is programmed, saying blue chip is programmed in. I mean, you get swatted down by the market hard. And the other thing too is, and Free Market will be the first to tell you this as he watches it, I don't recall any big names really buying these.
You know? There were no big names buying these. Saying Hape Prime is the new Mechaverse is an insult to Mechaverse. Hape Prime is not a real project. The art is terrible, and they are going to fall under one. The fact that they are over one is still mind-boggling in this market. It's really just a factor of people not being able to accept their fate. This will happen soon. These are going to zero. I am sorry if you're still holding one. We said to sell at 9. We said to sell at 7. We said to sell at 5. We said to sell at 3. I'm telling you to sell at 1.65.
Yes. Yeah. We actually have talked about this like in private too. Like, what could, like, not because we're bullish on the project or we're hoping for a turnaround, but like at this point, what could Hape actually do that would make you bullish on it? And there wasn't a whole lot of answer other than like a Supreme partnership, which is not happening with them.
No.
So I brought up Starcatchers as the kind of antithesis to that. And again, like, I'm holding a couple Starcatchers. We're obviously bullish on this project, but the big point that I wanted to make is, if you're watching any kind of like whale watching wallet trackers or anything, this is a project that I continuously see the big names and the smart money just doing little sweeps of the floor here and there, right? Like I saw Psyduck just buy 5 or 6 of these yesterday. You see Sneaky starting to buy them and saying that he's bullish on them long term. Some of the other names are escaping me at this very moment, but like this is a project that's actually lighting that up quite a bit. And these people are more than happy to be buying at this price and even a little bit higher right now.
Yeah, and Psyduck paid 30 ETH for the 1 of 1 that matches his Cool Cat.
Yeah, the double one, yeah.
Yeah. There was it's interesting because it has the lower floor, but I would say the art was received a lot better, and they've had much higher sales than Wonderpals, quite a few of them. So interesting dichotomy here, my friends. This is an obvious case of liquidity coming out of the floors so that people could chase whatever was minting the next few days afterwards. And now we've just run into some of the lowest OpenSea volume in months. So
I think
you've never had a better opportunity. If you're liquid, you've never had a better opportunity. But we'll just sit and we'll watch and we'll let people FUD, and they'll have all their reasons, because as the days go by, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to talk about except sit there and concoct reasons as to how you could run the project better than the team that sold it out in the first place.
Sure. Yeah. I think we're going to look back on this kind of set of projects in much the similar way that we're going to look back on Lemon's, Alien Friends, and Coolman's universe. And they've all kind of had their runs at different times, but they're all still doing their thing and doing well. I think this is kind of almost like a cohort of projects that will, they'll have a long track record for sure. And there's going to be more to talk about with them in the future, especially once volume starts to pick up.
I only have 6 star catchers, Penguin. I have 6.
6 star catchers. Yeah. I have 4 of them myself. And I'm watching, honestly, like this is the number one project that if that dips dramatically lower, I will continue to buy them.
Oh, these are going over 10 ETH. I mean, I could sit here and say it a million times. They're going to 10 ETH. So very, very excited for that. There are a few traits that I really love that I keep watching to see if someone gets one near the floor. I'm shopping. I like the price right here. I mean, I may buy one this morning. I'm just being a little, no, I didn't get anything high ranked, my friend. I think the best FMC I got was, excuse me. The best star.
You're the best FMC we got.
It was like 2,000 or something. I've had bad pulls recently. I did have a great pull on some game called 2112, but nobody cared. I think I sold it for I sold a number 8 rarity for 1.1 ETH, which I'm sure will haunt me in a month or so. But this game frustrates. I don't understand. And the people who told me about it hate me now and won't talk to me. So I don't even know what this game is about. I honestly don't even know what 2112 is. I'm just holding this bag because I trusted the people who said to be bullish on it. So we'll see. Could go somewhere.
I liked the theory behind 2112 and stuff like that, but it is there's a lot to absorb with that project. Like you don't just sit down and get it.
No idea.
10 minutes.
It looks fancy. I can't deny. And they have some great NFT community members on their board. I forgot. I think Tropo was on the board. Zeneca, maybe. They had some pretty high profile guys. So I was like, yeah, this probably makes a lot of sense. Couldn't tell you what it's about at all. I assume it's a video game, but
it's like a community driven story. Matt is asking, is now the buy-in, or do you think it'll drop a little bit more? I mean, probably, but I mean, I wouldn't be looking to spend. What's that?
For Shadow Quest?
No, he's just asking in general. I think. I wouldn't be looking to spend all of my liquidity that I'm willing to spend in one day anyways. Like I would just pick my spots here and there and see what happens. I'm happy with where my portfolio is right now, to be honest with you.
Portfolios.
What's that?
We like the portfolios.
The portfolios are good. Raid Party having a little bit of a bounce back, not like, not above mint price or anything like that. But we've been, disappointed in the past, but it seems like tomorrow is going to be the day that the game goes live. A couple weeks back, they finally just said, we need much more time, and I think that they look like they're on track to launch it tomorrow. So kind of just been sitting on the sidelines waiting for this to happen. The one thing I will say is that this is a market and environment that maybe a game can do very well in, as people are looking for distraction and places to put their attention. A new solid P2E game, if that's what this ends up being, could be just what the doctor ordered to kind of quell some of the boredom of the market right now.
Yeah.
I know that you guys keep very busy with EtherOrcs. There's still lots to talk about there. They're still building with that. Did you do your EtherOrc space yesterday too?
No, we postponed it because ogres are almost minted out, and we will have a lot to talk about next week. So we figured it would be actually better to leave it till next week. It still is a weekly spaces. We will be doing it every week. We did just postpone this 1 week because of coordination with the team and the big things that are coming up next Wednesday. So rogues were in. We kind of suspected it was rogues anyway. I believe that had leaked, but we got official confirmation on the EtherOrcs Twitter account yesterday. We got a little preview. We even maybe got a hint at what their utility would be, as rogues are stealth and sneaky. And the animations they showed were them quickly sneaking around in and behind things. Not sure what they're implying, but yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about next week. I will tell you, ogres are almost minted. I don't think old FMC is going to be getting himself another ogre, as they are very close to minting out. But yeah, really looking forward to that one next week. Love doing those with the whole orc fam. Zug.
Yeah, they're still doing actually really well too, holding a 3 ETH floor. The allies, I think, are what, 0.5, 0.6? Oh, 1.1. Yeah. That's good. They're weathering this storm quite well.
Well, it's interesting, right? The Genesis orcs are in a strange place where, while don't get me wrong, the fact that they passively create Zug is big, but given how we have what's called the vendor in the game and how you can basically sell anything that these allies make for Zug, they're essentially Zug producers themselves, right? And you can now enter the game. If you buy a Genesis orc, it's 16. The floor orcs will earn you about 16 Zug a day. A floor ogre will earn you on average about 12 Zug a day, but it's a third of the price. Okay, so you're talking about 75% as much Zug for a third of the price. This is actually a better value when you're thinking about it. Now, the Genesis orcs were also a victim of whales playing the game early on with a ton of supply to work off. It's not even just that they want to sell. It is impossible to manage a horde of 100 orcs. You would literally be orking all day if you had that many orcs. It's impossible for these guys to efficiently play the game with that many. I don't know what the number is or what the capacity is, but unless you are just dedicating to doing this all day full time, and quite frankly, it can become tedious because this isn't a controller-based game where you're going around a world and seeing different stimuli. You're pressing buttons, putting them into staking actions, all this type of stuff. So right now, I think allies are severely undervalued. They should be closer to the price of Genesis orcs than they are. Genesis orcs themselves are severely undervalued just because we have so much supply to work off as well on the Genesis. I think Genesis orcs have a fair value around 5 ETH, and the only reason they're depressed to 2.6 right now is that whales need to work off that supply. We need the demand there.
Yeah, actually, I think Penguin just asked the question that you just answered. Agree with the points. How do you then work out if the allies are undervalued or the Gen orcs are overvalued?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the constant struggle. I mean, the market is looking for price parity and to make sense. And my gut is telling me probably meet somewhere in the middle, but that's
right.
It's hard to say in this market. As you just mentioned, there's a downward pressure on the Genesis orcs because of the people that were holding them.
Yeah. Now here's how I would look at it. I think that Genesis orcs are very undervalued relative to how valuable they're going to be as the game ramps up. In this current stage, if I had 2.6 ETH, I'd buy 2.6 allies, not one Genesis Ether orc. Why? Because you can build a bigger horde by buying 3 allies, putting them into action, stacking that Zug, and sending them raiding versus just one Genesis orc. Not a lot you could do with one Genesis. It's going to take you a long time to build up enough Zug to level up enough to get anything done. Whereas you buy 3 allies, you're getting there a lot quicker, and that allows you to build your horde without adding more ETH in, right? You can continue to mint allies, collect bone shards, build up your horde. That would be much more difficult with a Genesis orc unless you had more liquidity to put in. Now, the brilliance about orcs is the dynamics are always changing. They introduce new utility, a new character, a new dynamic based on what's happening. You know, this is what's kind of cool about it being a live game on chain, that they can track all the stats and everything going on. They will adjust the gameplay to create parity. If they see something's becoming too unbalanced, you know, too many people are selling training dummies and potions to the vendor, and it's draining the vendor of all the Zug he has. And if the vendor has no Zug, it's going to hurt a large portion of the game. Well, how about we make training dummies and potions more valuable by saying that, you know, orcs cannot do certain things unless they get to a certain level or have enough potions. So I would expect next level, and when the rogues are released, the next phase of the game, for you to need a lot more training dummies and a lot more potions to do things than you do now. That means people are going to need more Zug, but they're not going to be able to sell them to the vendor because they still need them to do the stuff they need to. So the orcs closely watch where the imbalance is, because by the end of any phase, there's going to be an imbalance. You have max min players, you have max profit maxis who are playing this game at a very high level. Once they all figure out what the optimal strategy is, they ruin it. Of course, then they go blaming it on other things that don't make any sense, but they ruin their own strategy because other people figure it out and start doing the same thing. So by the end of the phase, whatever works at the beginning doesn't work towards the end. Now they will look at that balance. They will figure out how to adjust it so that things get back to the middle, at least in the beginning of that phase. And then people will figure out what the best strategy is for that. Min-max it, get unbalanced again, and they'll do the same thing on the next phase. So
it's very interesting, the similarities that we see to not only traditional, more competitive style gaming, but also even just sports in general. You know, one strategy in like the NFL or the NBA that really kind of just takes hold, and it's like the only way that you go. Rules start to adjust to try and meet it back in the middle all the time. We see it, you know, a distance on something changes, the size of something changes, like goalie pads in the NHL. These metas just develop, and things, if people find these strategies that work really, really well, and they work until they don't work, and the meta then shifts and adjusts. And it's really fun to watch that, like, push and pull happen kind of in real time. Especially, I'm not in Ether orcs, but like, I know that there's a lot going on, and again, like, tons of people in AlphaMint are still talking about this stuff daily. So, you know, I think that's just a testament to the entire ecosystem that Ether orcs have built, really.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, StarCraft is one of the good examples of that, in like competitive gaming, where like these metas shift all the time. So that's fascinating stuff. Cool. I think we're almost at the end of the road for the content that I have lined up and the tabs that I have lined up. But yeah, as Zhao was saying, when Shaq destroyed the basket, exactly.
I remember that. I heard it live on the radio. I remember being a kid. The announcers were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. There's actually another person that can be in the dominance conversation for the time when he was at like his peak physical form.
Well, I actually
insane.
Unfortunately, Animal wasn't watching the show, but I just posed the question to him. I said, "Who was the most dominant at their sport? Tyson, Jordan, Gretzky, or Woods?"
Did he get back to you yet?
Not yet. Waiting for his response. So we'll see.
Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna throw the link up in the chat here if anyone wants to join us, and we can just hang out for the next half an hour before we wrap this up. Do we know anything about Braindom? Do you know anything about that? I saw it pop up, but I didn't.
Is that what's her name? Claire Silver's project?
No, Braindom was like a huge app, like a puzzle solving app. It's on the website saying 150 million downloads, and I struggled to figure out what the relationship to this NFT project is that they're building. I mean, I'll pull it up on screen. They're doing a Brian NFT collection by Braindom Game. Brian NFT collection by Braindom Games is a limited collection of 10,000 unique 3D NFTs with hundreds of unique attributed. Like, this is just standard jargon. Number one app in all of these things: word games, puzzles, trivia games, etc., etc. They're doing a mint. They seem to be patting themselves on the back about how good their app was and how big it was selling. But again, I'm curious as to like what the relationship between the app and the NFT is. I don't know. Brian, I guess, is like a Brian. So I mean, I didn't bring it up because I saw it and I was very confused. If Mike, you have any information about that? Yeah, is it minting right this moment? I'll check out the drops. Pre-sales at 10. Raffle mint is at noon. 0.25 in price. I'm somewhat confused. Is it 3D now? I'm pulling up Twitter and the art is completely different on here than it is on the website. The website gives me no indication that that's what that's supposed to look like. What is going on here? you have the whitelist. What's that?
Game. Interesting.
Just like pulling up the website, I would never have thought that this is what they're going to look like.
It's interesting when projects do that.
Yeah. Cheech and Chong. Well,
do people use FTX? Why is Sam a billionaire? Oh, I see. FTX this, FTX. No one in my life I know ever uses FTX.
It is a big platform.
Is it outside of America or?
The Up Only podcast is sponsored by them. FTX. They talk about it all the time.
Oh, in that case.
No, I have no idea. I've never used FTX in my life.
Sam, youngest billionaire in the world. FTX taking over. I've never seen one.
Oh, yeah, that guy too. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. People love him. Sam Bankman? Can't remember. Sam Friedman? Something. Real Tom. What's that?
I just call him Sam.
Sammy. Tom Nook is saying Shaq is the most dominant. Kareem was very dominant. Jordan was the most dominant, though.
Such a nightmare. That's brutal. Yeah, I didn't think Cheech and Chong knew what they were doing or put a lot of care into that project. They probably just had some consultants come to them and say you should do this. So.
They looked genuinely confused when they were like talking about it on the Twitter thing too. Like Chong was just like, "Yeah, talk to him." I don't know. How did that end up doing? I'm almost scared to check.
Not good. Not good.
My homies? Yeah. My homies in Dreamland. Yes, that's right. GM Cass. GM. How you doing, my man?
I'm cool, man. How you guys? Oh shit.
I'm doing well. It's Thursday.
Market's going down like I've been saying, which is good.
Yeah.
100%. Because I think there was a group of us that were talking about it. And we were talking about 3 weeks ago to get liquid for this period. So yeah, we got liquid and now it's shopping time, I suppose. So
what you shopping for, my friend?
What am I shopping for? They've got a list, dude, man. Got a fucking
Certainly
list.
Not my homies in Dreamland, I'm sure.
Nah.
0.02 floor. I don't expect it to get much higher than that.
what am I looking at? I'm looking at kaijus.
Very
I'm
nice.
I'm looking at Pepsi mic drop.
Oh yeah, why?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, just as a like kind of a legacy NFT.
Yeah, just something for long term. First ever Pepsi NFT, Pepsi being community. So if it goes, I think if it goes down to like 0.3, yeah, I'll probably cop one of those.
Those would be the Pepsi mics, right?
Yeah,
I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually, I am surprised to see them still at 0.4. So I mean, it's very low supply and high ownership. So I mean, I guess so. It requires people to be listing them.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking at them as more historic, long term, keep in the wallet. You give to the child when he's 20 years old.
Nice.
And yeah, it would just be perfect for that.
Well, those are my favorite. I've been banging the table on mainstream NFTs since late last year as we started seeing them come into the industry. I think your average person, if they go beyond a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape, they're going to say like, oh, I thought there was a Pepsi NFT, or, oh, I thought there was a Budweiser. It's just what's going to penetrate that mind share first. So I like that play.
Yeah, no, I do for sure. If your liquidity is allowing you to put this in the wallet and not worry about it, I think there's the conversation of what pickups here are good gets very, very big.
Yeah, so yeah, there was Pepsi. Pepsi was one of them. Stoner Cats went on a run, which I'm a bit pissed off about. I was hoping to get 0.2, but it just mooned to like 0.4. Cat Blocks, if it gets cheap enough, so I can get involved with that whole Puma collaboration shit. But only if it's cheap enough.
I'm just maybe you can touch on this a little bit, or maybe some people in the chat can as well. But Puma and Cat Blocks have a collaboration, but if you go on Puma's Twitter or whatever, they're just very focused on kind of their own. Like, it didn't seem like they gave Cat Blocks the same nod that Cat Blocks gave Puma. And maybe that just makes sense, but I don't know why. Am I wrong?
You're absolutely right. I mean, let's look at the Super Bowl as an example. We were all thinking, and people who were holding Pepsi mics were thinking, "Oh my God, Pepsi show with some NFTs, blah 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 blah." Hype ran up to 1.2, and then plumped down. Because why are you going to advertise to less than 1 million people?
Sorry, say that again.
Yep.
Do you know the market? Yeah, the marketplace
gotcha.
is 1 million people. Why are you really going to spend all your resources to kind of do that? Or why are you going to spend your resources to teach people? Let people get fucked first. Once they're fucked, then we'll teach them.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's my point on that one.
Let's go.
I like it.
Go. And what's another one that I'm keeping an eye on? Someone put it on my radar the other day, but toy boogers?
Yes. Huge.
I always see that one pop up.
Huge. Shout out to the homie Toy Boogers, who's in AlphaMint, and his project is one that I also mentioned yesterday as getting a lot of allow list, right?
Yes.
Like, people were talking about, should I join MBHQ or should I join Origins or some of these other alpha? And it's not that those servers aren't great, because they are. It's just that there are so many NFTs you can buy that offer you the same amount of whitelist, right? Like, the problem is the ratio, right? Like, how many people are in these very large alpha groups and entering these whitelist raffles versus these NFT collections? Like, you go to Little Lemon's friend, there's about 500 entries on each raffle that they hold, and there are usually 100 to 200 allow list spots. Little Lemons get more allow lists than almost any other project out there. Kaiju King, Ether Orbs, Toy Boogers, Cool Man's Universe, Alien Friends. Why would you spend 3 ETH on an alpha pass when you can literally buy an elite NFT collection and have the same exposure to whitelist? It makes no sense. Buy the NFT. Look at that. And Toy Boogers, great example of that. I'm very bullish on Toy Boogers, not just for the art and not just for the allow list, but that community. That community is dedicated. That community is legit. Love that pick, Cass. Love that pick.
Oh, thank you. Is there anything else? There's loads. Like just keep an eye on it. But yeah, those are the ones that really stand out.
Yeah,
for me personally. And have you guys heard of Louis Monet Space Revolution?
Yes, I did. I saw that watch yesterday. Tell me about it though, because I saw people talking about it. I didn't really know too much.
It's the whole introduction of NFTs to kind of real life shit. Where Louis Monet, they're Swiss watches, and I think their average price is about, or the start of price is about £12,000, about 15,000 US. They've made an NFT, and the only, given the whole spiel of bringing time into the metaverse and all that bullshit. But I think the long and short of it is you can have a Louis Monet face on your Apple iWatch. Yeah. And it's currently as low as mint price at the moment. So if it goes below mint after reveal, might be something. But I want to see it after reveal.
That's kind of a cool idea to be able to have like the product's face, and like they built it in with the idea of like the Apple Watch kind of being a prominent display piece for NFTs.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But wrong time of the year to kind of pull it out, really. I think anyone that's putting a project right out now over the next 2-3 weeks could be in trouble. So we'll just see.
Has anyone heard of Debt City?
No.
Debt City, no.
I don't know. I just want to allow a spot from the orcs for Debt City. It looks like a little P2E game. 10,000 members in the Discord. Pixel art. Not bad looking. They have a white paper. So I just didn't know if anyone knew anything about it. I guess I got to go research now.
No, I didn't. I got what did I get off orcs yesterday? Non-fungible miners.
Oh, I had heard of that one too. Very nice. Look at that. See? Ether orcs. Allow this. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, they had a lot on that, and it seems cool. I'm still skeptical about it because from what I can gather is that they're going to use the mint money to buy ASIC or ASIC miners. And then mine it, and then whatever. But in my opinion, that just shows me you're getting a whole heap of money of people of minting to buy these machines. So when the project goes tits up, you've got a whole bunch of mining rigs. Happy days, all on Bitcoin as well. Can't go wrong. Right. Yeah, no, it's just me being skeptical, because I think I'm a bit more skeptical with projects nowadays, man, because everyone says the same shit, and it's
I felt like that's what would happen. That's what happens last cycle too. Like first, you have whatever model is working, right? You have whatever mint price, format, look, meta, whatever. You have this thing that's working. Then people see that obvious cash grabs start using that model, and people go, well, this is what's wrong with that model. This, and this, and this. So the good projects start doing those things differently. And then all the cash grabs go, oh, look at how those other projects are now doing those things differently. Let's do it like that, because now we're going to look like one of those good products. And then it happens that this cycle is happening all the time, where whatever we do to adjust to say, this is what a good project is, the scam artists go, oh, well, we got to make it look like that's what we're doing too. So that's always the trap, is that we settle on this thing like, okay, so good projects have this, they have this, they have this, and they have this. And the same people making that list of the scam artists go, oh, good projects have this, 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 and this. And it's a constant game, cat and mouse. They're one step ahead, we get ahead of them, one step ahead,
Well, it's funny you should say that, because like marketplace. Yeah. How many fucking NFT projects am I hearing at the moment that are going to build a marketplace for whitelist?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it's and that's the point. And we're at the end of the previous meta. Volume's gone away. People think the alpha's gone. I mean, it's an illusion. It's ridiculous. This is correlation without causation. It's we're literally at the in-between phase, and a new meta is going to be born out of it, and it's going to be like, oh, this was the model everyone was supposed to do all along, and oh, everything's back above the old highs, and look, everything crashed to 20x where it was at the beginning of December. Oh shit, we're all dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of switch up coming out of this this bear market. What's that?
By the top. But yeah, you know, and Real Tom Nook brings up a great point. Look at Starcatchers and Wonderpals. They've had more partnerships than arguably any other project out there. They're already giving away allow lists. I've already entered 3 contests as being a holder of Wonderpals and Starcatchers. They're barely getting off the ground running. Owning these NFTs for access to the raffles is it, man. I mean, that is where the alpha is going for. You know, trading's dead. Okay, trading is dead. And that's why all these traders are grumpy and looking for answers in places where they're not going to get them. The bots have eliminated that arbitrage. There's too many people who know what you're doing, are doing the same thing, and that's just not going to be profitable anymore. That's done. It's over. We're moving into a new meta. We always said last year that this year's bull run was going to look different. Well, it ain't going to be easy. You're not going to be able to just press a little button and steal everyone's money anymore. It doesn't work that way.
Random question. What's your thoughts on Anonymous?
Anonymous, another one that I would say is worth owning just for the alpha and allow lists alone. I am not in that community, but both Maz and Shubs talk nothing but great things about them, how intelligent they are. I think so many people lose the fact that being a part of one of these alpha communities is much more about learning the thought process than the actual alpha itself, because everyone has the same tools. There's no fucking secrets out here. 80 ETH for Neo Tokyo was always ridiculous. They had the same alpha as everybody else. It was just a pump and dump group because people respected them and had so much. There's no secret alpha out there, guys. It's a fucking illusion. What there are proper thought processes and hive minds that create the opportunities. And that's what's always been most valuable in any of these communities. And that's why I'm talking about Anonymized. As far as I can tell, they are up there with the best of them about learning how to think about this market, getting you those opportunities, and just being around the smartest and best devs in the game. So yeah, Anonymized, certainly like them too. I don't know about the ETH price of Anonymized, but I certainly like the utility and the benefits of being part of that club.
It's gone down. It's 1.3 ETH.
1.3 now, yeah.
On Anonymized?
On the babies or on the gens, my friend?
On the gen.
On the gen? Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. So
pretty palatable price for that group, actually.
There's a few, and in regards of alpha as well, you've also got to look at it as the industry, because if you can remember September, October, if I can remember rightly, correct me if I'm wrong, you had to be in Bored Ape Yacht Club, Cyberkongs, and Kaiju to get real alpha in the industry.
Yeah.
Anyone that mentioned anything from those 3 groups or 4 groups, yeah, that was alpha.
That was automatic. Yep.
But now it just seems like it's saturating towards different people and different groups. And end of the day, alpha is just knowledge now. So as long as someone can research, that's alpha.
And that's it. And the thing is, what everyone... Oh, sorry, just Cass. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I didn't say nothing.
No. Well, I think that's the issue here, is that people don't understand, like, what is alpha, right? What is it? And they're missing the core of exactly what is being given. And you look back to those, it was just a completely different time. And I think that everything around us is changing so quickly that it's very hard to determine exactly what's causing anything. I mean, the people who adapt quickest in this market are the ones who are going to succeed. And arbitrage gets eaten up quickly. Remember, I always say we have 3 rational players in this market. We have project creators, we have the customers, the collectors, the people who buy, and we have the miners. And the 3 of them are always fighting to get the largest piece of the pie. And it goes back and forth. And creators and miners are going to figure out how to eliminate as much of the arbitrage as possible for collectors, and collectors and creators are going to figure out how to eliminate as much of the arbitrage as possible for miners, and miners and collectors are going to figure out how to eliminate as much of the arbitrage for creators. This constant fight is going to end up in an overall lessening of the easy money. And as that easy money leaves and people can't win on the methods that they were trading on before, they blame the wrong things. They don't know what's going on. It must be this. It must be that. I'm doing all the same things, but it's not working. Hello? Wake up. Wake up.
I hate to keep going back to this conversation, but
it never lasts. The carry trade, it never lasts.
This conversation actually, again, goes back to poker, right? With online poker.
It's the only thing that ever worked.
I was going to say shout out to London Hard Fork.
.eth? The London Fork .eth?
.eth, yeah. Shout out to fucking, what's his name? ETH guy. I don't even know his name. I traded ETH. I don't even know the fucking guy's name. Vitalik?
Yeah, Vitalik.
Yeah, Vitalik Buterin.
Yeah. Shout out to him. Shout out to the team. Shout out to London Hard Fork. Shout out to making my mining rig fucking 2 times slower than what it is. Oh, whitelist. In this wonderful period of time, have you guys looking into anything?
Oh yeah. The thing is, I can't say. I've secured 5 partnerships coming up over the next month. I am so excited about for AlphaMint, but the Discord is still closed. The projects are just getting out there. Let me see which one. I think one just went public with their account and announcements the other day. So let me see if I'm true about. Yeah. So Somewhere Nowhere is one that I find very compelling. Let me guess. This isn't one of the ones I actually got a deal with yet. I really can't speak about those yet. This is actually just one that came across my screen. Only 857 followers on Twitter. Guys, you got to check this out. I'm going to send R2 the link right now.
Yeah, I'll pull it
what I'm really excited about coming forward are like, you went to the Twitter or no? Here.
No, I was waiting for the link from you.
Yeah. It's very unique. I think a lot of projects are coming out in March that aren't part of the same mold. I think people like to generalize, like, oh, we're in the cute meta. Oh, we're in the P2E meta. Or, oh, we're in the art meta. Or, oh, we're in the cute meta. All this type of stuff. I hate classifying things like that because I think all this shit is project specific. Like, I don't think that just because a cute project did well and 5 other cute projects launched and trade above mint, we're in a cute meta. I think that's kind of a ridiculous angle to take. So whatever. This is one of my favorite projects based on the art coming up, and they literally just started. So there's like a few of them that I think are very interesting and unique, and have great stories and lore. Somewhere Nowhere. Follow them, check them out. That's just one I'm looking forward to. I do think we're going to go into an art phase, kind of like how we did over last summer with the generative art. I think fine art is going to come back into vogue here this summer.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
The hardware play too, right? Is those getting into more people's hands? They want stuff that they can display on their wall rather than their profile picture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had something pulled up earlier when you were talking about kind of the race between like legitimate projects and then scammers kind of like, or rug pulls kind of moving into that space, talking about what they did. We mentioned, what was that project? Beanbag Friends? A couple of weeks ago or whatever. And we were like, and pointed out, it looked like Little Big Planet. Some rug pulls just aren't even trying anymore. I saw this pop up on Twitter this morning. Little Big Friends. The game that Sony issued the DMCA to Beanbag Friends about their artwork was literally called Little Big Planet, and this project is making a PFP called Little Big Friends, and again has this like sack boy I mean, free market talks about it all this time, failing intentionally. This is the easiest way for them to be like, oh, Sony hates us, sorry guys, we're gonna try our best to switch it up, but you know,
no, dude, you know
what you're trying.
No one does. I mean, even if you look at Dented Fields and Weather Report, okay? Have you guys seen a Netflix program called Cupheads? Is it Cupheads?
Cuphead is and a video game too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't you now? You know, people. Dented Fields was like, "This is my art," and the rest of it.
Yeah.
But you must have got inspiration from somewhere,
mm-hmm.
it's kind of weird how these guys could be the inspiration.
Throw Serial
Same as-
Club in there too.
Yeah, that as well. And then you've got what is it, Beepos?
Well, Cryptoon's goons were also admittedly inspired by Cuphead. That was something that they brought up when they made Cryptoon goons.
But even then, I think with Cryptoon goons, whilst everyone was following each other, they actually broke the mold.
Yeah,
I think, you know.
Love that project. I'm with you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, so it's very, it's just different from anything else that was out at the time.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think also going on the different side, whilst everyone was on this cute, whatever the fuck you call it, like cute meta, I think that's why I went for the Howlers, because it's a bit more aggressive and it's a bit more different, and it's just, I like the art.
Yeah.
Not just
No, I love the art on Howlers. I think it's some of the better art that's launched in the last month. No question.
Yeah, 100%. So I think even though the price has gone down today, like I still,
a little bit.
Yeah. So what's the fuck? Couple of, have you guys heard of? Is it Kaizen? Kaizen?
Tazen? Is it an artist or a project?
Kaizen as in a project.
I
don't know if I can.
Kaizen NFT. Is it?
Yeah, I think
Kaizen Corpse.
Kaizen.
Kaizen. Oh, yeah. I got it.
Kaizen NFT. K-A-I.
Oh, it's just like a. Yeah. It's very Azuki-esque.
Yeah.
Well, it's a free mint.
Yeah.
It's a free mint, and they've been a bit picky and fussy on who's going to jump in. So for a free mint, I couldn't really go wrong, really. So I just jumped in for that and see.
Did you get one of these, or it's not out yet?
It's not out yet. It's out on the 5th. So as
Saturday.
I said, free mint. Yeah, it's free mint. Happy days. And then there's Chain Scouts.
Yes, Chain Scouts coming up. Pumped for that one too.
I really am. A shout out to Traffickers for sorting man out. Thank you. But yeah, no. Chain Scouts looks interesting, and the community looks good.
Yep.
And I think what really kind of made me go wow about them is as a community member, you were allowed to go to Just Cubes and get your own free node. I was like, wow, like you're gonna give me a free node. Well, they gave a Chain Scouts node, but it's a node just for being a part of the community.
Wow,
it's pretty cool. Yeah, so
it is.
The alpha was pretty cool. They've done. Yeah, I mean, Crypto Wall Street does most of their shouts.
Yeah,
and it seems associated with like a few decent groups.
It's
also all right. So yeah, Chain Scout seems impressive, man. That's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah, definitely.
When is that going down again? March 6th.
Yep.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's that? Sunday. Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that one's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. The one I'm not really looking forward to, because it is that cute meta, and I don't really know much about it, but maybe you guys might shed some light. Is it droplets?
I saw that pop up too, and I just got like immediate like Starcatchers vibes from it, I guess. Is that right? Is that the right one?
Yeah, it looks like a mashup between Tasty Bones.
Oh, yeah, Tasty Bones was in there. Yeah.
Tasty Bones, Starcatchers, Invisible. It just seems like a mix of all of them, but they've just made drop heads, to be honest. So I've got whitelist for that, but I wouldn't say I'm the most.
But it's minting too, isn't it?
I'm not sure when midday is, because I've only got the whitelist and I'm not on the Discord. So I'm moment.
Little Blobs World was what I think I pulled up. I've never seen that before.
Droplets? Yeah, droplets. The art looks all right.
Yeah, sorry, I was getting two projects confused here. My bad.
Yeah, no, the project, the art seems okay, but again, I think I'm done with that cutesy profile picture kind of looking thing. I've got my lemon. I'm cool.
You're Trafficus, Michael? I've been talking to Trafficus for months.
Trafficus is a good guy, man.
No, it's just Michael phrased. I don't think he means he is Trafficus. I know he's not.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. No, Travis is the man. I love Kaiju Kings represent.
I still need to go into Kaiju's, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you'd like it there. I guarantee you'll know everyone in there once you.
Probably. This is the thing. Like, so the idea was to make as much thing and then to buy one or two. What?
Michael is Travis? I can't tell if he's messing with. Why are we having two separate DMs then?
What? No, I am Trafficus.
Yeah, good stuff. Oh, hi,
So
Travis. That's his. I guess that. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I wanted to touch quickly on Puma and Cool Cats. I think it's a bit of a nothing burger in the short term, just because it'll probably be a while before we see any real world collaborations from them. And Cool Cats is just too mired by the Cooltopia launch right now for, I think, the Puma news to move the needle. Here, I saw Hermano asked about it earlier, so I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I like the news. I think it's good. I just think that, yeah.
Puma's grand entrance into NFTs was spread very thin too. Like they kind of didn't focus or touch on any specific project. They just started buying all kinds of cat-related projects. But I mean, obviously they changed their profile picture to the Cool Cats, which is probably the biggest thing. But
yeah, I know, Michael, but I gave you an out. That's why I was doing that whole routine. You could have been like, no, I didn't. I typed it wrong that way. But no, now you're doxxed. We see your first and last right there. We love the traffic.
love the traffic.
I think it's a cool collab. Is them being, yeah, totally agree, Hermano. Like I said, I love the long-term prospects of it. I just don't know if it's going to overcome the FUD being created by this Cooltopia launch. I'm not a fan. I'm very bullish on Cat. I actually love Cat tier between 5 and 7 or wherever they're sitting on a daily basis. I know we see WETH offers being accepted for 5 pretty regularly now. I'm very bullish on the Cats. I think that in a way, this Cooltopia thing's the best opportunity for anyone that wanted to get into Cool Cats over the long term. Nothing's changed to me about that story. The Cooltopia launch was botched. It was bad. In retrospect, maybe they shouldn't have even gone in that direction, given where I think the real potential is for Cool Cats. But it doesn't change my long-term view on the project in the least.
yes, sorry, I was reading. Yeah. It's going to be hard for anything to move the needle right this moment. I think that's where we're at. It's all good. All right. Cass, it's good to have you up on stage, my dude.
Always a pleasure, my friend. And I might see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you don't, have yourself a great weekend.
You too, guys.
We'll be here.
Peace.
Thanks, dude.
Leaders. Have a good weekend, Cass.
You too, bro.
Free market, anything else you want to touch on real quick?
No, I'm
Get to
done.
that time?
Nope.
Done?
I'm done.
Finito. Thursday. Wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. We appreciate it. As always, the entire episode is going to be up on YouTube and Spotify. You'll be able to check it out if you tuned in late.
Yep.
Free market. You want to get us out of here?
Good luck at the tables, DJs.